Yo, peace. Lassie in the guard, keep low, we in effect. You already know what it is. Yo, check it out. Today, I'm going to do a reaction video on Jay-Z and Beyonce. You feel me? This is a real good video. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, Old Peak. And if y'all know, Old Peak is KEEPLO backwards. You feel me? Dig me? But yo, go over there and subscribe to that channel. I'll leave the link in the description. I appreciate all you that tap in with me for real. And that's what it is. So let's get to the video, right? But this video here has Beyonce nose in it. You feel me? It's a reaction video about Beyonce and Jay-Z. They saying that Beyonce is working with the feds because, you know, they're gonna gobble all of them up or whatever. And I think I'm gonna save this information for another video, but this is a really good video on Beyonce and Jay-Z. It's a reaction video. Get this video a thumbs up because it's gonna be fire. Thanks to everybody supporting the channel, and we're gonna get into the video.
Today, we received some new information with one of the many celebrities that associated with P. Diddy over the years, Jay-Z, who is now accused in a civil lawsuit of a 13-year-old at an after party with P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity who was there watching.
Since Combs was indicted by federal prosecutors last fall, these parties he was known for hosting and what celebrities may have attended has been the subject of intense scrutiny. But the blast radius around the star had been relatively contained until now.
Now, I bet you want to know why Jay-Z and Beyonce's name keep popping up around the whole Diddy thing. Well, that's why I'm here. Now, first thing you got to know is when somebody like Diddy gets taken down, things always start out as a rumor. Diddy has had rumors floating around for like decades. Jay-Z had a problem. He right there in the corner, by the way. Jay-Z has had a few rumors himself, but more like speculation. People see Jay-Z in a picture of R. Kelly. They're like, I guess they both make music. Then Jay-Z with Harvey Weinstein. People are like, I guess they both do business. Then, of course, with Diddy. Now, hold on. Here's the thing.
I loved Jay-Z because in his lyrics...
To be clear, he's been emphatic in all his demands. Let's be
Wait,
clear.
I also want to be clear on the Jay-Z recent stuff.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Right.
I looked into that case and I actually don't believe
A lot
that.
of holes in it.
Yeah, that one doesn't pass the sniff test for me. But in terms of his relationship with Diddy, I would expect him to make some sort of a statement because, like I said, he is overtly political. So I just want people to keep the same energy.
What if the same person you built an empire with, your partner, your ride or die, suddenly became the one who might help bring you down? That's the kind of speculation circling Jay-Z right now. The internet is buzzing with rumors that Beyonce might be working with federal authorities. And
Wow.
he's supposedly in full-blown panic mode. The whispers aren't coming out of nowhere. There are lawsuits, party allegations, and a growing sense that this picture-perfect power couple might be dealing with some very real behind-the-scenes chaos. Let's break it all down, step by step, and look at how this story became one of the most shocking celebrity twists of the year.
The case against P. Diddy, the baby oil billionaire, one of the most vile individuals in music industry history, has been getting more and more horrible things about it coming to light. It would take hours to go over every crime he's accused of. It is a list that goes on and on, filled with the most awful, unimaginable things possible. It would be easier to talk about crimes he isn't accused of committing. Like, he probably started dying and dashing just for the sake of adding more crimes to his resume. And some new information with one of the many celebrities that associated with P. Diddy over the years, Jay-Z, who is now accused in a civil lawsuit of a 13-year-old at an after party with P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity who was there watching. P. Diddy party list is a lot like the Epstein list in terms of rich and powerful people that attended them. And a lot of people, myself included, have wondered if these names will ever even see the light of day because they have the means of burying it potentially. But luckily, that doesn't seem to be the case here now that Jay-Z has been named. But they should all be named, and hopefully they will over the course of this case. Make like a game of guess who and name them. Because the happened at these parties is terrible, horrible, just deplorable. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we learned that P. Diddy threw a party where they dug up Jeffrey Dahmer's corpse and paraded around Weekend at Bernie's style or something. Like, the things that have reportedly happened there are things that everyone associated needs to face consequences for. And now Jay-Z is the first one that has been named.
It all started with a lawsuit that pulled Jay-Z's name into one of the darkest corners of the music industry. A woman claimed she was 2000 after the MTV Video Music Awards. She said she was only 13 at the time, and she named both Diddy and Jay-Z as being involved.
We got a lot of rappers here. That's right. Jay-Z, Jigga, the Jigga Man, Jigga what? Jigga who? Jigga in the club, that's who. And how could you mention rap without talking about my man P. Diddy? P. Diddy, Sean John, Sean Buffett Cone. Got a little bit of trouble this year, huh?
Got a lot of trouble this year.
Hired Johnny Cochran. Actually, you didn't hire Johnny Cochran. You just sampled OJ's defense team.
Now, this shook people. Not because they were quick to believe it, but because it was such a serious accusation. Jay-Z denied the claims, and the lawsuit was eventually dropped. But by that point, the damage had been done. His name was now tied to something huge and deeply disturbing.
As a close friend of Jay-Z, what was your reaction to him opening up about his infidelities in the Family Feud video?
Yeah. I mean, that's what music gives you the power to do. And I think that, you know, once you're ready to share it with your fans in the world, then nobody could judge it. You know, they have to accept what it is. And I think, I thought it was dope.
Were you surprised?
No.
That he put it out there?
No, I wasn't. I was surprised about Lemonade, but I wasn't surprised about...
You were. Why were you surprised about Lemonade?
I mean, I just didn't see it coming. It was just like... I mean, if it was a Sunday, it was just like, whoa.
Right. You didn't see the album coming, or you didn't see what was in it coming?
I didn't see anything. I think like the rest of the world, and I think it was genius. I think Beyonce did a great job, and she tackled something that a lot of women have had to go through, and also Jay on the other side, he did what he had to do. And most importantly, their family stayed tight and together, and they were able to weather the storm. And that's a shining example of a couple that stays together through the good and the bad.
From there, things spiraled. Jay-Z's team said his whole family, including Beyonce and their kids, started receiving death threats. And let's be real, once you're tied to something like that in public, it's nearly impossible to walk away untouched, even if you're legally cleared. Meanwhile, Diddy's world was collapsing in real time. He was hit with multiple lawsuits, each one more intense than the last. They included allegations of trafficking and a whole underground lifestyle that the public had no idea about.
He can reach out, even if behind bars, like some kind of mob boss, and get people to tell people to shut up, or I'll pay you if you shut up, and be effective.
Look, I don't know how real that is. I think, you know, when you're in jail, I think you should also know how to move and not do stupid stuff like that. I think a lot of the stories are becoming out of control and super extreme. Again, you know, you start
got a lot
one way,
going on
and
himself.
then as it builds, there's thousands of people coming in, creating a new narrative. And when you do your research or your due diligence on it, a lot of it doesn't come back real. So now you're stuck in a position to go, is any of it real, or how much of it is real? And I think that's where we are now, because they just keep piling on and on and on. And now everybody's starting to feel weird about it, and starting to feel like it's all starting to look like it's one-sided against one man. And people aren't liking it.
Diddy was just finally arrested, which is probably a good thing. And they also searched his home. What they found in his home, though, is just unfathomable. They found a lot of things, including narcotics and firearms, but what really stood out to me was the fact that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. To top it off, it was reported that these items were allegedly used in, quote, freak-offs. I don't even want to know what a freak-off is. Anyways, 1,000 bottles of anything in someone's home is something I just never thought I would hear, unless it's in like a middle school math question. But I'm shocked, to say the least. Hopefully this guy never gets out, because if he does, I'd be surprised.
He's now sitting in a federal detention center in Brooklyn, awaiting trial. But what's crazy is that as the lawsuits kept coming, more and more people around Diddy started getting named including Jay-Z and Beyonce. People started questioning whether Jay-Z was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, or whether he was deeper into Diddy's world than anyone suspected. One lawsuit in particular raised eyebrows. A man named Manzaro Joseph filed a claim saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce were at a 2015 birthday party for Diddy's son. But it wasn't just a party. He described it as a freak-off, a kind of secretive, wild party with celebrities, drugs, and unspoken rules.
So Sean Diddy Combs' accuser drops major lawsuit claim against Beyonce, Jay-Z over male part mask freak-off party. It says a man who sued Sean Diddy Combs for allegedly doing something to him in 2015 at a party while Jay-Z and Beyonce were present is now claiming the married couple was never actually there.
Now, Jay-Z's team clapped back hard. They said he and Beyonce weren't even in Miami that day, and they had proof, flight logs, public schedules, receipts. Their names were eventually removed from the lawsuit, but here flight logs, public schedules, receipts. Their names were eventually removed from the lawsuit, but here's what's important. Once a name is in the headlines, most people don't care about the retraction. It doesn't matter if it's proven false later. People remember the accusation. And when you're Beyonce or Jay-Z, your name carries weight and scrutiny. And with all this swirling around, social media exploded. People online started connecting dots. Real or imagined? Red Threads theory. Suits claimed had receipts. Some even suggested Beyonce had cut a secret deal with the feds, turning on Jay-Z to protect herself or her brand, or maybe even their kids.
With Diddy now facing the scrutiny of a federal investigation, it's only natural that fans are taking a magnifying glass to every detail of Diddy's friendship with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Seen some pretty eyebrow-raising music email artists to allegations of her dabbling in witchcraft. These accusations aren't just popping up out of nowhere. They're coming from people who were once in Beyonce's circles. Let's talk about back in 2018. She shook things up by dropping a bombshell accusation claiming that Beyonce was knee-deep in what she described as extreme witchcraft. Thompson even filed for a restraining order against Beyonce, claiming that she was using spells and magic to mess with her even after she moved to another city to escape.
We almost lost things. And for her to say, I'm going to talk about my pain and anger at you, what were those conversations like?
Again, it didn't happen in that way. It happened, we were using our art almost like a therapy session, and we started making music together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music she was making at that time was further along. So her album came out as opposed to the joint album that we were working on. Mm-hmm. We still have a lot of that music. And this is what it became. There was never a point where it was like, I'm making this album. I was there.
Right.
I was right there the entire time.
And what was her reaction to your work, and what was your reaction to hers? They must have caused pain for each of you, right?
Of course. And both very, very uncomfortable, but sitting in that, the best place in a hurricane is like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
We were sitting in the eye of that hurricane. Maybe not use hurricane because so many people are being affected right now, but the best place is right in the middle of the pain.
Right.
And that's where we were sitting, and it was uncomfortable. And we had a lot of conversations, and really proud of the music she made, and she was really proud of the art I released. And, at the end of the day, we really have a healthy respect for one another's craft.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's amazing. Right. Most people walk away and like divorce rate is like 50% or something because most people can't see themselves. The hardest thing is seeing pain on someone's face that you caused and then have to deal with yourself.
Yeah.
So most people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to look inside yourself.
Of course, none of this has been confirmed, There are no documents, no official statements, but the internet doesn't wait for facts anymore. All it takes is one viral video or tweet, and suddenly the court of public opinion is in full session. Then came another lawsuit, this one from a woman identified as Jane Doe. She claimed that back in 2000, she was taken to an after-party hosted by Diddy. She said she was drugged. And again, Jay-Z was named as someone who participated in the abuse.
But we're beginning here on our 10 o'clock news with a breaking story. That assault lawsuit made public tonight. A woman is accusing rapper and media mogul Jay-Z of drugging and her in the year 2000 when she was just 13 years old. The civil suit was originally filed against Sean Diddy Combs, who the woman says is the same party following the Video Music Awards in 2000. The woman alleges she began to feel woozy after having a drink. She wandered into a bedroom where she claims Jay-Z her first, then Combs. In a statement tonight, Jay-Z called the allegations, quote, heinous in nature, that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. And we'll, of course, have more on this story as it develops.
She describes the exact assault, what happened. She talks about various stages of things that occurred. And I think that this is good because this way it can either be corroborated or not corroborated. So she's painted herself in a corner.
Why add Jay-Z now? If this originally was filed back in October, why not do it then?
Very interesting question. I think, we're seeing the same attorney for many of these complainants. And I think we're going to see more and more people added. I think there's a lot that they were looking to prove, and maybe they didn't quite have what they thought they needed to file against Jay-Z initially.
So Jay-Z is responding after Tony Busby and his client, Jane Doe, have dismissed the lawsuit where she claims that Diddy and Jay-Z harmed her, FA'd her when she was only 13 years old. So you may remember this lawsuit. It was originally filed back in October. However, in December, they added Jay-Z's name as an unidentified celebrity. As you know, Jay-Z and Tony Busby had a back and forth in the court system. Jay-Z on the Roc Nation account. Well, now on the Roc Nation account, Jay-Z is responding to this dismissal. Jay-Z says, today is a victory. The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. The civil suit was without merit and never going anywhere. The fictional tale they created was laughable, if not for the seriousness of the claims. I would not wish this experience on anyone. The trauma that my wife, Beyonce, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed. He says this 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe, and when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. The system has failed. He continues, he says, the court must protect victims, of course, while with the same ethical responsibility, courts must protect the innocent from being accused without a shred of evidence. May the truth prevail for all victims and those falsely accused equally. Sean Carter. Diddy's attorneys also released their own statement in regards to this lawsuit being voluntarily dismissed with prejudice, meaning that they can't refile this lawsuit against these two.
Jay-Z and his legal team wasted no time. They said the lawsuit was not only false, but dangerous. They called it fiction and harmful to real victims of abuse. Eventually, the lawsuit was dropped with prejudice, meaning the accuser can't file it again. That should have been the end of it.
You were telling us that the accuser in the civil suit dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, which means they can't file it again. Do we know why?
Well, it's going away entirely, and they did not give a reason. But the defense for Jay-Z and for Sean Combs had said there were glaring inconsistencies in the then 13-year-old's account, which supposedly this took place at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Her father had driven her to the location. The father then said he didn't really remember doing that. So there weren't enough facts to establish what she alleged, even though at first her attorneys stood by her until just this past Friday.
Now, in a statement, Jay-Z said, in part, the trauma that my wife, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed. Is there any chance that he takes some sort of legal recourse here?
We haven't heard that he is going to do anything more with regard to this lawsuit, but his attorney has certainly threatened to impose sanctions against the plaintiff's attorney. That effort may go away now that the lawsuit has been dropped. But Jay-Z has said even in other legal filings that he suffered financial harm, that he suffered, certainly as the statement reflects, emotional harm because of the allegations and of all the lawsuits against Combs in particular. This one may have been the most difficult because the allegation involved a woman who says she was 13 at the time.
Interesting is Puff also issued a statement.
Puff charges have been dropped too.
Because the case was dropped against Puff and against Jay, and on this particular case, and Puff is basically like, see, people be lying. This is another example of these cases coming out used against me to lie. So while this case is false, it seems Puffy is using it as an excuse to kind of say, look, everybody's after me. This is wrong.
So I think it's unfair to even mention Puff during the whole segment.
But they were grouped together. But I think it's important to note that this is why it's interesting, because Jay is innocent of this, and I believe Puff is innocent of this one. But it's interesting to see how that plays into the rest of his cases in terms of the court of public opinion.
But in the court of public opinion, it added fuel to the fire. People started asking, why is Jay-Z's name popping up again and again? Even if these lawsuits don't stick, why is he always adjacent to the chaos? Beyonce has said absolutely nothing through all of this.
Biggest story around the world seems to be Jay-Z being attacked in the elevator by Beyonce. The world has let go of everything else important and is talking about this. She is kicking his behind. Security this footage, this area at, as you might know by now, the after party to the Met Gala. It was at a place here in Manhattan called the Standard Hotel. The hotel is upset because the footage even got out, because this is supposed to be a place that caters to these. Who falls for that?
Going ham.
Of course, this would probably make somebody rich. The only thing that would make somebody richer. Okay, so now, you know, I will just say that people have been speculating and saying, well, why didn't Beyonce get in the middle? In my mind, Beyonce didn't get in the middle because Solange was probably attacking him over something that he knows he was dead wrong about. And therefore, sister didn't get in the middle.
There's a lot of negative stuff around Jay-Z right now, which is clearly damaging to him.
Yeah, and I think there's like a famous quote from someone who was acquitted, and he said, all right, where do I go to get my reputation? And social media was light. Beyonce's next, Jay-Z next, all the people in Interpol next.
Yeah, not just many pictures of the two of them partying together, and it clearly was at a lot of Diddy parties.
No social media posts, no interviews, no subtle messages through fashion or performances, just silence. Some fans say this is Beyonce being smart. She's letting lawyers handle the noise while she protects her image. But others see the silence as a strategy. Maybe she's not speaking because she can't. The idea that she might be cooperating with authorities, maybe distancing herself from Jay-Z to protect her own empire, that's where the conspiracy theories really took off. Eventually, Jay-Z had to speak up. Through his lawyers, he called the accusations flat-out lies. He said the emotional toll on his wife and kids was devastating, and he raised a point that many people overlook: how easy it is now to file a public lawsuit, get media coverage, and smear someone's name with no consequences. He made it clear he's not backing down. He's fighting every false claim, pushing back against what he sees as an attack on his legacy and his family.
That it could be the case. Is this the kind of thing that we're looking at down the line potentially?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I want to distinguish between what we're seeing right now, Stephen A., with the Jay-Z situation and what we saw in the Diddy situation. There, as you mentioned, raid on his home, lengthy investigation, going at even the charges, talking about a criminal enterprise, his companies and all that, not only involved in making records, but having this criminal enterprise with these freak-offs. I would not connect. I'd be loath right now to connect the P. Diddy case with Jay-Z. And for one really big reason and then other smaller reasons. The big reason is in the Diddy Combs case, they're arguing that he set up this entire criminal enterprise, and part of this enterprise were these freak-offs. That's not being suggested in the Jay-Z case. The Jay-Z case is suggesting, at least the accusation is, he was at this party that P. Diddy was throwing, and that there was a sexual assault that occurred, and that Jay-Z committed it. Completely different circumstances, completely different situation. Do I know if it could go there and something could happen? No, it's what said. We don't know enough information about that right now. But that's a big difference. The other difference is here, you talked about should he be fearful? I would say there has to be concern. And the reason there has to be concern is, and we talked about this when we talked about the Diddy case, we talked about the idea that there were all these people involved. Even in the Jane Doe's case with Jay-Z, she claims that she runs out and nobody did anything. One of the things U.S. attorneys said when they were doing the Diddy case was, when they made that big announcement, P. Diddy has been arrested, they made the point of, our investigation is ongoing.
I'm gonna have to end that video right there. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, KEEPLO, make sure you subscribe to the channel KEEPLO. And I'm putting these videos on here, these reaction videos on KEEPLO, because the reaction video is going to be on my other channel called Old Pete. So I'm just putting these reaction videos on here for a while so that some of my subscribers on this channel could go over there to the other channel and support my reaction channel. But remember to go into the link in it. The link to the other channel will be in the description, and go check that out. Subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate all of y'all giving this video a thumbs up, and that's what it is. You feel me? Give it a big thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you're not subscribed to the channel KEEPLO, subscribe to the channel KEEPLO. And I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate all of y'all tapping in. And we gone. Peace.